everyone. My name is Joyce Ong, and I run a marketing consultancy for small and medium-sized businesses. And together with a technology partner that I work with, we deliver technology solutions such as affordable mobile apps for small businesses, websites, and SEO services as well. So we're more than an app developer, or web designer, or SEO provider. With my marketing background, I would work with a business in a 360-degree fashion to ensure that we generate results from your marketing investment. And I have a lifetime of marketing and project management experience working for multinationals in Singapore, in Zurich, and London. And now I'm running my own consultancy working with SMEs. Clarice Lin and I, we both run our own marketing consultancies, and we have come together in this webinar to share our collective marketing insights and expertise in this webinar. So we really hope that you enjoy and benefit from this session. Before we start, just a little bit of housekeeping, if I may. There'll be loads of information that we'll be covering and some concepts, but not to worry. There will be a Q&A at the end of this webinar where you have a chance to, we'll invite you to unmute yourself and you can ask your questions. And during the webinar, if you do have any questions or things that you're not sure of or we didn't clarify it, please do put your question in the chat box on this webinar. So as I was saying, this webinar will be recorded. And after the webinar, you should receive a replay sometime later today. So not to worry if you've missed certain points, then you can go back to the webinar. And I guess with that, I shall hand you back to Clarice, who will introduce herself. Clarice.
Hi, welcome everyone to this YouTube Marketing for Small Business. And I'm Clarice Lin, the ROI doctor, and I'm going to share with you today about YouTube marketing, obviously. So I have been doing marketing for the last 5 years or so, and before that I came from a kind of like analytical background, so I help small business owners to grow their business with blogging and a YouTube channel, helping them to fill up their sales pipeline with high quality leads. So, and today I'm kind of like excited to come together with you. Actually, hang on a second. Yeah. And today I want to kind of like go through with you to make sure you are here for the right session, which is you are here because you want to find out if YouTube is worth the effort to grow your business, and you are curious how YouTube viewers can turn into customers, and of course the number 2 search engine, whether it works. So this is me, and I'm on Twitter, on LinkedIn as well. That's my website. You can check it out. And this is one of the events that I spoke at Boston last year, at one of the largest marketing events for marketers. And these are the brands that I have worked with. So previously, before I started my own consulting agency, I was with Microsoft and Haymarket Media Group, helping with their social media strategy and their mobile strategy. So, right. So today, we have a full agenda. So keep till the end. We have this live Q&A session right at the end. So if you have any questions, please note them down, and then you can ask them at the end. So we have 6 points that we're covering today. So Joyce will be covering the first 2 points about how consumers, young and old, are using YouTube. So you know exactly who is there and how you can get those people to turn into prospects and customers. And she's also going to cover how the lockdown has changed some of the viewing habits because people were at home. So how they would been using YouTube and how you can use it to your advantage. And from point 3 to point 6, I'm going to talk more bit about YouTube algorithm, how it works. So you know if you start a channel, what should your priorities be? How can you grow your channel to get more traffic and more visitors? And of course, how you can turn your channel viewers into customers. And towards the end, I'm going to go into showing you examples of a couple of channels. One of them is one of my clients, how I help her to grow from 0 to nearly 1,000 subscribers. So keep on watching. And of course, the live Q&A. So yeah, I think that's kind of it. And I'm kind of, before I hand it over to Joyce, we have this poll right here. If you look at your corner, that says a poll. So I'd like to understand for you who are attending the session today, whether you have a YouTube channel or not, so we can kind of help you along and customize perhaps a couple of the content today for you especially. So remember to join it in, and then we're going to show you the results shortly. Cool. So I'll hand the mic over to Joyce.
Thank you, Clarice. Are you calling the poll?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, hold for them to start.
Okay, fantastic. So I'll start, shall I? Okay, great. So as Clarice has mentioned, I'm going to cover some research trends. So we're going to research some stats from various sources, which hopefully will give you a few ideas for formulating a strategy for your YouTube channel, should you wish to do so. So let's move on there. Right, so as you can see on this chart is from Hootsuite, or We Are Social. And as you can see, I hope you can see the text on the chart. So the world's most visited websites based on global traffic, well, global website traffic. And as you can see, these are rankings, and Google being number 1, no surprises there, YouTube number 2. So Google's suite of products takes precedence or takes a lion's share of global website traffic. As you can see here on this slide. So the rankings are ranked based on average duration, which is at the top here, this column, average duration of a visit per visitor, and also the number of pages that they visit. Right, so we can see here on this chart itself, Google's number 1, but then what's surprising here is that YouTube, the average duration is the highest amongst all these sites that are being ranked here, all top 20 sites globally. YouTube actually commands the longest visit time. People stay the longest on YouTube. So even though Google's number 1 in terms of traffic, but they actually, the retention, the time they stay on that site is longer. So that's really interesting to note there. So the question, it begs the question, what do they do there? Well, the 2 things they do. People use YouTube as a social platform in the sense that people share videos. They like to share YouTube videos across messaging apps as well as social platforms. And the second point to mention is that YouTube is also the number 2 in terms of search engine, number 2 biggest search engine in the world. So this means that if you have a YouTube channel and your videos are optimized properly, then that would really improve your search engine rankings as well. Because Google would tend to favor videos over images when you do have a well-optimized video. So that's good to know. So people use YouTube for 2 main purposes: social media for sharing, and for search. And we'll delve into that in the next couple of slides. Right. In this slide here, we're going to drill down to the UK market. So I'm going to share with you a couple of pieces of UK research, which will answer the question, what type of videos do people watch in the UK? So this slide focuses on that. I'm aware we do have a few attendees on this webinar from Europe and from the USA as well. And I do apologize if this is going to be slightly more UK centric. But if you'd like to see research that's actually specific to your country, please drop us an email in the chat box, state the country that you're interested, or the country you're operating from, which you'd like to see some research on that, and I'll be happy to share some of this research with you after this webinar. So I hope that's all right. Right. So this piece of research, as I also was saying, it answers the question, what type of videos do people watch in the UK? So this research is from Ofcom, which is the communications regulator here in the UK, and they do publish a yearly research report, which I really highly recommend if you want a good overview of media consumption habits of UK consumers. So in this piece of research, you can see on the chart, I hope you can read the chart here, that of course no surprises there, music videos ranked number one in terms of video consumption, and what's surprising is in the second position is how-to videos, tips or tutorials, that ranks number two. And if you go a little bit further down after entertainment or funny videos, which, it goes with in line with what people watch on YouTube, you also see reviews about things that I may want to buy. So I think how-to videos and reviews about things I may want to buy, these two video consumption habits would be of interest to businesses, for example. So there's some room to maneuver there in terms of what sort of content you can put out there as a business on YouTube. Right. So the point of the slide is, although entertainment is still number one, music videos is still number one in terms of consumption, you can see that how-to videos and reviews are also on the rise as well in terms of consumption. Right, so this slide talks about YouTube consumption. So it drills down to what people search for on YouTube. What sort of content do people search for? And you can see that this sort of correlates with the previous slide on consumption. What sort of videos do people view? And you can see the first to rank is how-to tutorials in terms of DIY, makeup, application, tutorials teaching you how to do things, how to develop skills. Number two is learning new educational skills. And then number three, entertainment. Number four, information about products. So that's really interesting as well. So these are the three types of things that people search for when they go on YouTube. So again, I want to drive home the point that people don't use YouTube purely for entertainment any longer. They actually search for useful, practical stuff to help them get on with their lives. Right, so next I want to talk about the lockdown situation. The research which I showed you previously from Ofcom was in 2019. So obviously that was before COVID-19 and before the lockdown started. So now I want to drill down to research from Google most recently on what's changed, search trends that have actually changed from March onwards when we started our lockdown. And this piece of research from Google is, again, focusing on the UK market. So as I said, if you want to look at other markets, please drop me a note, let me know, and I'll share that research with you. Right, so what's changed in the UK since the lockdown? There has been 120% global increase in average daily views of videos. So not just in the UK, but globally as well, with the words homeschool in the title. So people do search for this a lot during this period, during the lockdown. So that's the number one trend. So that might be quite interesting for people in the education sector. People who are providing education services to school children of a certain age. The second trend I'll talk about is how-to videos. So that's the second trend to watch. So global watch time of how-to videos that include at home in the search, at home and how-to. So these are the two phrases that they include in their search, has increased more than 50% year over year. So that's quite interesting to note as well. And again, I'll say this piece of research started in March. So that's when that's the period when the lockdown started. So that's the second trend to note. So this slide would be interesting for businesses in the DIY sector and also businesses selling household or beauty products in particular. Moving on to the next slide. So the third consumer trend search trend here would be upskilling at home. Here there are some examples of upskilling at home. So this could be a relatively simple home activities such as cooking or bread making, as that can be evidenced by the amount of flour that people buy nowadays from shops. So cooking, bread making, these activities that people commonly would do at home. And also, not only that, but also the more formal, time-intensive, skill-building exercises, such as learning a language, for example. And people have resorted more to YouTube to do that. And the global YouTube watch time for lectures on spoken languages have grown more than 6 times year over year. So that's another piece of stat that supports what I've just mentioned. And also interesting to note that Google searches for online courses grew more than 70% globally between the last week of March and the first week of April. So that's quite a huge increase in terms of people searching for online courses, for things to learn, to upskill themselves. So having said that, just moving back to that slide, having said that, I think I would rush out actually to build a course, spend money and spend time to create an expensive course at this point in time, as obviously we need to research how much of an interest building a course will be and the course content will be to your audience, and also consider how you're going to market the course as well. So these two things to take note of, but just to show you that these are the trends that have picked up or changed recently. So hopefully this gives you an idea of the type of videos you can now create for your business, which will help to grow your YouTube channel now. So moving on to some examples, what does it mean for you? What does all that research mean for you? So here, I will say that if you or your business can support your clients and your audience during this time, it would be good to mention it. If you are thinking of doing a video, it would be good to mention and explain how you can actually help them in order to stay relevant to your audience. And here I'll give you an example of a firm solicitors, Irwin Mitchell, based in the UK, who have done this very well. So Irwin Mitchell is a UK solicitors firm, and during the lockdown, they have started a whole series of webinars discussing topics. These webinars feature their own solicitors discussing topics that are relevant to their audience during the lockdown. So very useful practical tips and practical advice given by lawyers. And they also have wonderful client stories as well, which are quite powerful, and client reviews as well. So that's a good example to follow.
Joyce, sorry to interrupt a little bit. If you can try to speak further away from the mic, because there's quite a bit of interference.
Oh, okay, sure. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks for telling me, Clarice. Okay, and then moving on to TEDx. Some of you may be familiar with TEDx, which is a local gathering where live TED-like talks and performance are shared within the local community. So TEDx is famous for their speeches, which they always upload on YouTube. And each time they upload their speeches from an event, they can attract thousands of views and comments in a short space of time. So that's worth taking a look at. And lastly, but not least, Gusto. Gusto is a London-based company that supplies meal kits. Gusto supplies subscribers. This is a subscription-based meal kit service. So they supply subscribers with recipe kit boxes, which include ready-measured, fresh ingredients, easily followed recipes. My 13-year-old daughter loves it because it's easy to follow. So there's no food wastage there. And in their videos, they feature unpacked unboxing videos, which is unboxing a packaging. It always comes in a brown box, unpackaging and people describing exactly what's in the box itself and how to use the product. So that's quite popular, and also reviews as well from Gusto's own customers. And lastly, if your business sells products, then Dyson, a name that we're all quite familiar with, would be a good channel to look at, to follow. So Dyson has a whole range of products, and they do how-to videos on how to use their products, and also reviews from their own customers as well. So I think that's me for now. That's the end of my section on research and trends, and just showing you some hopefully practical examples that you can have a look at to give you some ideas on starting your own YouTube channel. So with that, I'll hand over to Clarice.
Thank you, Joyce. Cool. I think, yep, you have covered a good research into that. So I hope if you are when you're watching this, you find all of this useful for you. So now we have got that aside, I'm going to go deep down into YouTube itself. Just before I start, let's take a look at the poll results. We have 62% of you have a YouTube channel, 25% no, and 12% planning to have one this year. So you are right. Yeah, I think this is very encouraging. I think this means that this is going to be useful for you, so you know exactly what to prioritize on to grow your YouTube channel. Cool.
Great.
Yes, so first things first, YouTube algorithm, how to work it to your advantage. So before we go into the algorithm, I'm going to explain a little bit more about how YouTube makes money. Why is YouTube making it free for you to create your channel? So follow on. Let's go into what YouTube really, really wants. Okay, so how YouTube makes money. If you're not already aware of it, one of the things about YouTube is YouTube relies a lot on people who create channel on their platform itself. So basically they want all the people to go onto a platform, so their leverage are the audiences that they have. So what they actually make money from, about 50%, most of it is ad revenue. So when people create channels and they get users, they can actually offer advertising space to other businesses who want to run advertising. So 50% of those revenue goes into kind of their pocket. So when they have more interesting channel, they have more interesting content, then there will be more advertisers going onto there, and then they can earn advertising revenue. So the other revenue stream that they have is actually the YouTube subs premium. So there are a number of people, if they don't want to watch ads, they would have to pay a premium for that. So they get subscriber revenue for, skipping all the ads. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. So YouTube welcomes anybody to start a channel, because as the channel is growing, the platform is growing, the users are growing. So it becomes more challenging every day, has to speak, that building a channel to stand out, to actually grow audience and subscribers compared to 5 years ago, is getting more and more challenging. And many people whom you might have spoken with, I don't know if you have spoken to anyone else before about growing a YouTube channel. I went to one of this video conference, one of the biggest conference for video creators on YouTube. And many of them, when asked how to grow their channel, they don't quite know how they kind of become famous overnight. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is the way you grow a YouTube channel 5 years ago versus now is kind of different, because when you get more users and YouTube is tweaking its algorithm as we go along, just to make sure it provides like kind of a equal platform, so nobody cheats on the platform and try to, get spammers or buy subscribers of any kind. They want to get real viewers, because when you get real viewers, that's when more advertisers come on. So you have to keep that in mind. So what I'm sharing today is one of the latest algorithm changes on what's the prerequisites of how you can grow your YouTube channel. So the most important thing actually YouTube would like you to do if you start your channel is watch time. Because when the users go on this platform and stay for as long as possible, what happens is they can show them more ads. More ads means more revenue. So they want people to stay as long as possible. So this is the top algorithm criteria for that. So if you get users on the platform and get them to stay as long as possible, to watch as many of your videos, or to get from watching your videos to watching other channels' videos, YouTube is very happy. And YouTube will become your best friend if you help them to increase watch time of every viewer who is on YouTube itself. So keep that in mind. So now that you know that watch time is the most important thing, so what can you do? Okay, I'm going to cover now into how you're going to start a YouTube channel and how you can grow it successfully. So bear in mind what I'm sharing today is kind of like the fundamentals that you need to have. Of course, growing a YouTube channel is not as straightforward as it is. There are many different things that you can keep optimizing. But what I'm going to share with you is the key basics. The key basics that will be kind of enough for you to get started, to get from at least 0 to 100, or at least the first couple of 100. Because if you look at those big channels that have millions and millions of subscribers, you might be overwhelmed at the start to see, oh, really? How can I possibly get there? So I'm going to share with you the fundamentals, and you will find it's not as difficult as you might have imagined. Right, the core essentials of a channel. 3 basic things. Your content, information that you put on your channel. What is the value? Is it going to be useful for your audience? The value that you're sharing, the answers that you share, the questions that you address in your content, the topics that you have for each of your video is very important. So one of those posts that I've done recently on LinkedIn itself is many people, they find that if they are not getting the answers that they're looking for on your video, they're going to leave. So what you're sharing in the video is very important, especially if you are trying to promote your business or products and services on the channel itself. What you talk about or what you present in your video is hugely important. You need to answer the question. So if you have like a title as well, it needs to be answering those questions that people are looking for. So that's the basic. And the next thing comes is how clear your voice is, whether people can hear you clearly, your microphone, is it clear enough? Is it having a buzzy noise? So that's very critical to have something that people can hear. Because if they can't hear it clearly, then it's most probably the same as reading like a blog post or a piece of text. So you want your audio to be audible for them. It doesn't need to be kind of having like your home sound system, but decent enough so people can hear clearly what you're talking about on your video. And of course, having a good visual is really important. You don't need a $1,000 camera, but something decent, something on your phone that people can see your voice, they can see your eye expression, your body gesture. That's good enough. Something that I would say, if you have like a mobile phone that you can record a video, you can just simply start from there. You don't need to buy like a new camera just for that. So the next step, once we have those fundamentals, is going to talk about the engagement kind of your video. So when you speak, are you boring? Are you reading like from a script, holding something like a notebook, looking down? You need to look into the camera so people can look as if they're having a conversation with you. What you do in front of a camera is kind of like how you talk to a friend. If you talk to your friend like this, or do you talk to your friend like that? So that's very important. So they can have some eye interaction and speak as if you're talking to a friend. Speak from your heart so people can actually connect with you. So it's almost kind of like second to having you face to face. So that's really critical. So having that engagement will kind of help them to feel as though you are right next to them, talking to them. So no boring videos, no rumbling on and on. You kind of need to go like this, to the point, answer those questions. And if you want to speak about anything, if you want to have like a longer videos, You need to be interesting enough. If you're rambling on and on without a purpose, people will just leave. So the next thing that you want to have when you first start your channel is you want to have a niche audience. You want to talk about certain specific topics that people can actually find information about, because there are many channels out there which are very big channels. They cover a lot of topics. So this tactic is very similar to growing a blog as well. You want to kind of focus on a couple of different topics that is useful for a certain group of people. You don't want to be talking about everything under the sun. I would go into a couple more examples later on when I show you the YouTube channel about what do I mean by specific topics as well, so you kind of get a better idea. And once we have all that in place, because if you remember, YouTube wants you to stay as long as possible on the platform. So in this case, creating longer videos is going to help them. It's going to help you as well to get more of those watch time. People are more engaged. So having longer videos is going to help. And of course, there are also other tactics for you to keep viewers as long as possible on your channel, to watch your other videos as well, to keep them longer. I'm not talking about clickbaity video content. I'm talking about useful content that people want to keep watching because they feel like, okay, I'm learning something from this. This is going to help me do something better. So that's going to be really important. And when you start your channel from scratch, especially if you're kind of starting out, for those of you who are planning to start a YouTube channel this year, promoting your YouTube channel is very important. Each time you publish a video, promote it, share on your other channels, share it to your email list, share it to your friends, ask them to watch your videos. Because right at the start, before you can actually get ranked for certain keywords on YouTube, YouTube is not going to promote your content on page 1 of YouTube's search results. So before you get there, you have to start kind of promoting it on other channels, whether it is on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, whatever, promote it so you get people from other platforms going to watch your videos on YouTube. So as you grow your channel bigger and bigger, so what happens is YouTube then starts to understand what your channel content is about, and then they can start recommending your channel or your videos to other people already on YouTube. So what I've just covered is the 7 prerequisites of a successful channel from 0 to 100. And keep that in mind when you create your videos. It's not difficult. You don't need like $1,000 worth of camera gear to get started. This is just what you need. Cool. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of a technicalities when you have a YouTube channel. Just when you first start to create a YouTube channel from scratch, this is basically what you need. You need like a profile photo. You need like a channel name. It could be your name or the name of your business, or you could have your name and the name of your business combined together as that. And then you need like a channel art, kind of something to tell people what your channel is about. So in this case, as you can see from my channel, I show a picture of myself speaking in front of an audience about marketing. So if you have kind of like, if you have like other businesses, you can also add in like a banner to kind of promote your business, to say what is your business about. And then, of course, when you create your channel, you put in your channel description, what your channel is about, or what's your business is about. This is your chance to put it in right here. So if people come to your YouTube channel, they want to find out more, they can go to the About section and read more about you. And you can put in your contact details. YouTube allows you to put your contact details as well, your email address and your location where you are. And YouTube also allows you to add different links. So if you have your website link, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, you can link it to your website as well, your different links. So that kind of sums it up. 6 basics to get started. I'm not talking about making it fancy-pantsy, but just to start, you just have this basic information, and there is. So when you start even putting up your first video, when people are watching those videos, they can find out the sections about you. Cool. So the next bit I want to cover is the anatomy of a video. the 4 fundamentals. Of course, you can do a lot of things, but I just want to cover the key basics. So all your effort into creating those videos is not going to go into waste. So let's get started on there. Cool. So first thing first, your topic. What are you going to talk about? This is really important, especially when you're going to get prospects. You want to answer those questions of your prospect. What questions or what problems does your prospective buyers have? So when they go to the internet, or they go into Google, or they go into YouTube, they're going to type those questions out. And in that case, what happens is you want your YouTube video to come up. So you want to have those questions. You can start with those questions as part of your content planning. So what I would usually recommend is to have those topics like in advance. If you have like 5 different questions that you can address, place that as your topic, put that into your video so you can actually start to record smoothly. It's no point taking out your camera and then start thinking about, oh, what video should I create? It kind of becomes creates additional challenges for you to get started. So if you can list down a list of questions on what topic you're going to address in, and then you can start taking out your camera to start recording. Cool. So next thing, the title. So after you have recorded your video, you want to have like a good title. So ideally you have those keywords addressed in your title. So people, when they see your video, they want to click on it and find out more. So it's the same as having the right title for a movie or the right title for a book. So having the right title is really critical so people can see it before they click on it. And the thumbnail. So most of the channels, they might not exactly have a thumbnail, but if you're kind of starting out, having like an attractive thumbnail kind of helps people to kind of click on it. So when they see it, they're like, oh, I want to find out more. So you can design something really simple. What I have over here is something a little bit more intermediate level. But what you can do is just have a picture of you and abbreviated or shortened title so people can see immediately what the video is about. Because this is kind of like the preview of what people are going to see when they search and see on your channel, so they can decide which the videos that they want to watch. So a pretty thumbnail would kind of help to appeal and excite those people to actually click and watch your video. Cool. Right. Okay, cool. So the next thing is the description. So below each of these videos, you have this description, and some of this description is going to come out when people search for the videos. So having a good description at the starting point also helps. It's like having this, if you have a blog, it's like the meta description. So it's like the secondary description to give people a bit of flavor of what the channel is about. What of those videos, what are you going to cover in these videos, and how is it going to help them? So that's going to give them more of an insight. So that could actually propel them to get them to click on it and watch further. Cool. Right. So I see that some of you have some of the questions coming in already. So keep them coming. I'll address them at the end of the session itself. So you can just keep putting the questions in. You don't have to wait till the end. Cool. So the next things, how to generate leads from your YouTube channel, how to turn those viewers into buyers. So there's just 3 tactics. It's quite simple. So the first thing is you want to have good topics. So if your prospective buyers have certain concerns or certain problems, turn those questions into topics, your video topics. So there are different types of questions probably that your kind of prospective buyers have. So it could be kind of something that's a long-term question, something that's going to help them to solve a long-term problem, or something that's immediate, like a quick fix. So if you have that, you can turn them into like short videos. So when people search for it, trying to search for answers, you can kind of point them to those videos so they can actually listen to those answers. So you don't want to talk about topics that are not urgent. So ideally, if you're actually solving immediate problems, something that's going to help them to get revenue straight away. So it's kind of small problems that they can fix, and then it's going to help them to kind of like maybe double their business or kind of start getting leads straight away. If you choose those as your questions, it's more likely to get kind of more immediate buyers. If you are kind of solving something if you are talking about a topic that's solving a problem that requires months to see results, so that might not get you immediate customers. So choose your topics wisely. So the next thing is the call to action. So some people might just create videos and they're not actually telling people, oh, I have a website, or, follow me on other channels. So these are call to action before they turn into buyers. So ask them to follow you on different channels, or ask them to subscribe to your email list. Tell them what products you have, especially. So if you kind of spend 10 minutes talking about a problem that kind of requires a lot of effort, why not tell them about a service that you have? So if they don't really want to resolve it themselves, they are looking for some immediate help, tell them ask them to check out your website, tell them about a particular service, guide them there. Don't let them leave after watching these videos. So you want to do that kind of like an intermediary, maybe to subscribe to your newsletter so you can, have regular contact and communication with them. And the last thing is, between your videos as well, remember to promote your products and services. I'm not saying like if you have a 10-minute video, you spend 5 minutes promoting your products. I'm talking about just like a minute or so, or just 30 seconds to say, hey, by the way, if you're interested to have additional help with your business, check out my website, this particular package, ABC, check it out. So this is kind of where it helps to help turn those viewers into customers. If you don't let them know you're actually providing this service, they found your video useful, they're going to leave and look for someone else. So if you're like a service provider, if you have a product, tell them you have it, guide them there. So after watching your insightful, valuable video, they can check out your products at the same time instead of going somewhere else, going back to Google or YouTube to search for other providers. Tell them. Don't make them go around to look for it. So that's the best opportunity, especially if your video was really helpful to them. So they would they would consider you as their maybe first priority or first option, especially if they already have a budget. So I hope that's useful for you, because most people forget this. It might sound quite obvious, but some people kind of forget about it. And this is when you're kind of creating like a gap where people just drop off and then they look for someone else. After they found the problem, they found the solution from you, they got the answers, and then they look for someone else because they didn't know that you are offering such products and services. Cool. So now that we have covered the kind of like the fundamentals of that, I'm going to go into a couple of YouTube channel examples. So I've got a bit of time there. So let me just go into that. Going to share a screen with you. If you can't see it, let us know like in the chat section. Cool. So this is it. Great. Cool. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Brilliant. So I'm going to share with you like this chiropractor example that I have over here. So if you can see itself, this is just kind of like a simple thing. If you see these top bits where you have this little channel art over here and the links that they have put in on the channel. So if you add in the links, as what I've mentioned earlier, when you set up your channel, you would see it here, right here, where people can click on it. And then you can see like all the videos. And I want to show you a couple of videos that they have. So one example, you can see here, having this title of this video here, you can actually see the call to action that they have, asking them to subscribe now, showing the email and the website itself, asking people to click on it. So you can see that this is kind of like the call to action that they have. They also kind of put in a disclaimer here. So this is not the final results, very person from person. So they have been kind of regularly putting out videos like every week. So you can see the number of subscribers that they have, which is about 815,000. They've been around for a while, putting all this examples of case studies of these people. So what happens is this guy, Dr. Rahim, chiropractor. So at one point, what he was doing is for people who are willing to share their testimonials, they kind of get a bit of a discount off for recording the session that they have. So these are real sessions that they have with their customers. So it's kind of help people to see what he's doing. They can actually have a feel for themselves so they can decide. So I think it's a good way of how you can actually sell your services itself as a chiropractor. And over here, you can see in the About section, it puts in the description of the business, who he is, having business inquiries email, and then putting the different links, Instagram, Facebook, website, and Twitter. So you can see right here, you can see over here, the section over here. Cool. So the next thing that kind of example I can go into is like accounting. So there's this accountants in Liverpool. They have been proactively putting in YouTube videos every week for different problems that they have for small businesses. For example, earlier on when they have a pandemic, they're sharing like latest tips for them, self-employment, income support. So you can see that underneath one of their videos on their YouTube channel, they put in like the description to welcome you to the channel. If you want some business advice, you can subscribe to the channel, a chat. So they put in their contact details there, and also the email newsletter as what I was mentioning. So maybe people, small businesses, they are not ready to find an accountancy, and maybe they found this really useful. So before they decide, they kind of start watching those videos. So this is a good way to channel prospective clients to their website to get more businesses. So you can see that this is kind of like very helpful in terms of getting that. So if you realize that the videos that they have, they are questions that small business owners would have if they are kind of doing their tax. So there are things like, can I amend my self-assessment tax returns? Just like a simple question, creating like a short video, like 3 minutes or so. And tax tips if you want to have a loan for the entrepreneurs. So one thing that you can see over here, I want to share with you here is like the playlist that they have. So they have kind of categorized the type of videos that they have. Tips for entrepreneurs, coronavirus support, accountancy knowledge, business growth tips, the VAT. So they have this playlist, videos about VAT. So these are kind of the common questions that business owners might have. So they have crafted that questions and convert them into video content. Cool. So the next thing, the last channel that I want to kind of share with you is this is one of my clients that have been helping to grow her YouTube channel for about a year now. So we are getting very close to the 1,000 subscribers mark. So once you hit that and you have 4,000 public hours as well, you can actually monetize it. So people can run ads, and you can actually use that that can become your alternative revenue stream. So what we have here is we have this channel art talking about what the channel is about Hashimoto's, child nutrition, detox, and more. Something really simple. I mean, this is not we don't need artist level banner. It's just something really simple. So something that you can just easily put up. So this is like what I recommend for her mostly is kind of like what's the minimal things that we need to do to kind of get this going. Because right now, setting up a YouTube channel, doing videos is kind of like quite a lot of effort to get this going. But what you need is like the core basics. And once you hit 100 subscribers, 1,000, so once it starts generating more revenue, then you can kind of put in more enhancements to kind of push it to the next level. So we started this like last year in March. And this is kind of where we are right now at 915 subscribers. And we have like different playlists as well that we've put in for the different kind of topics that we want to talk about. And under the About section, you have like description of the business, what you can do, the call to action, getting them there to the website as well. So you can see what you can actually guide those people there. So underneath each of these videos as well, there's actually like usually like a short description over here, which we'll usually put in. So you can actually see We talk about simple description over here, some call to action, putting in links to other social media. It kind of helps. So if someone who is really interested in your video, they will actually want to find out more information. And this is kind of like, yeah, the website that she has. So she does like nutrition. So you can actually see how this kind of helps to guide to the website on different products and services that she have. So, okay, hang on a second. So I'm going to share with you the next part again. Hang on. Oops. Oh, yeah, I'm going to share another thing before we... Yep, one last thing before I kind of end off. Let's see, I wanted to show you... Yep. Oh, actually, this one. Okay, I'm just going to quickly just show you like an analytics of what I have for my client here. So basically, you can see, even though the channel was kind of created in January, you can see right here, and then we started uploading videos in March. So you can see like the watch time by hours. So you can see how, let's take a look at the weekly, take the weekly growth. Now let's just look at the daily one instead. So you can see how daily you have been uploading videos every single week. So it kind of stays flat right at the start. So growing a YouTube channel, you have to be really patient. So you can't really expect many subscribers to just come overnight unless you already have a huge following on other channels, so you can get all of them to subscribe immediately. Otherwise, if you're quite new, you kind of have to be really patient. This is just one video per week. And then what happens was, as it was growing more and more, someone discovered it and shared in their Facebook group. And then there was a spike here. So after the spike, it kind of starts to grow more exponentially. So it kind of slowly grows through regular promotion as well. You can see that the watch time is going up. So that's kind of where I am. I think that's about it. Hang on a second. Where are we here? Right. So let's go back to the slides. Oh. Hang on a second. Let's go back to the slide presentation. Start. Cool. So I've shown you the 3 examples there already. Yeah. Cool. So I want to end off with the best time to build a YouTube channel was probably about 5 years ago. So you see those with millions and millions of subscribers. That's how they got started, when there was nobody there. So the second best time is to start now. There's still an opportunity for you. So if you cover the basics, it's possible. You just have to be patient. You have to be regular. You have to do the right things so you can grow those audience. So if you're interested, you can book a complimentary consult with me. That's the link. You can also see it under the offers. You can book a link. You can just drop me an email to find out more information on how I can help you grow your channel. We can talk more about it. Yeah, so that's there. And yes, I think we have covered that. We are going to go into the Q&A section.
Fantastic. Thank you, Clarice. Shall I